For our back to pole body roll, we need to be comfortable with a body roll. You can find this in the Sexy 101 class, or I think there might be an individual tutorial for that one. And ideally it helps if you've got a step around and a cup grip pirouette, because that's the entry we're going to use today. Now you can actually use lots of different arm positions for this one, so you may prefer more of a twisted grip position. We'll talk about that just a little bit when we get there. Okay, let's dive in with the general breakdown, and then we'll do a left and right for the setup, but the move itself is kind of the same no matter which shoulder you're on. There's so many ways we could set this up. What I'm giving you today is just one entry to this move. So what I tend to do, I have the pole on one side, I step on my inside leg, I do my step around. I take what would be my outside hand at the start through, and I use it to cup and turn. And I want to think about being sideways or diagonal to my audience. I don't want to be back to audience. I don't want to be, some people do this front to audience. I don't think for me personally that looks good with my body type and the way I move, but most people are kind of side or diagonal to their audience. So the pole is in right into my shoulder. So it's kind of shoulder mount position if you've done some shoulder mounts. So that means that we have the pole sitting between the shoulder blade and the spine. There's kind of this little pathway between the two that is nice and soft. The closest we can get to the neck generally is going to be better. So you can see I'm looking at the ceiling and the pole. Hopefully you can see that is wedged right in close to the neck. My hands go into cup position. So this means thumb and fingers are glued together. I'm not wrapping my thumbs around. You can see there's no thumb around the front of the pole. My hands are cupping, okay, like this. I don't wrap. Elbows are going to come in. We don't want to go too high or too low here, just slightly. I kind of have it so my bottom arm is like just above my eyebrows, I guess, just about. So what we're going to do, when we first land in this position, our feet are quite close to the pole. So as we body roll, we're going to use the motion as the hips come up to step out. Okay, so this is a really bad example, but just so you can sort of see what's happening. So remember with the body roll, we're going tits, tummy, twinkle, or tits, tummy, twat, or whichever version of that you like. So we lead with the chest, we stick the chest out first, then the rib cage, then the hips, then the hips. I was going to say belly button, hips. And then we peel back in the same order. So we pull the chest back, the tummy back, the hips back, and then we repeat. So we come in with an arch, we round back. Now, if you've done the Sexy 101, or I think there is a body roll tutorial. If there isn't, I will get an individual body roll tutorial to make this easier. You've got to be super comfortable with this movement before we start to go into this version, because it is a lot harder, okay? The positioning, the way of holding ourselves, it's more intense on the arms. It's harder to get the body movement because of the position we are in. So you've got to be really, really comfortable with it. Okay, let me just do one more breakdown, and then let's go for right and left in terms of the entry. So I do my step around, I step on my inside leg, I circle my outside leg. I go for my cup grip pirouette, my outside hand comes across, palm up to the ceiling, and I take a big step for me to get in position for my audience. Depends where you want to face as to how big your step is going to be to get into position. Head comes back, really important, pole is into my neck. If I start on my right, I end up on my right shoulder. If I start on my left, I end up on my left shoulder. We'll go into that more in a minute. Doesn't matter which hand is on top. So initially the feet are in close. As I start with the chest, so the chest pops first, then the ribs, then the belly, then the hips, I use that to step out, and then I suck everything in. So again, chest, ribs, hips, in order, chest, ribs, hips, and then I start again. So chest goes up, ribs go up, hips go up, second foot steps. And we want to get the feet quite far away as we're doing this motion. Okay, we want to get them quite far away. Now the challenge comes to do this movement in this position. Now, I'm stuck on this horrible pole at the moment because I do have a chrome pole, but it's ancient and fucked and probably not safe to use. I'm ordering a new one for home literally in a couple of weeks. But at the moment, I'm stuck with this pole, which is very painful for stuff like this. So I don't recommend you do this on a silicone pole because my shoulder already, I've only done it a few times to film it so you could see at the beginning what we were working on, and then obviously what we're filming now. And my shoulder's already very, very sore. So it can, even on a chrome pole, it can be very ouchy on the shoulder, particularly if you're not conditioned for shoulder mounts, okay? Okay, let's go for right and left. Now, I didn't say how we would end it. Normally, I would arch and slide onto my back. I will try and show you that at least once with the breakdowns, but it's too painful today to do that on this pole. I'm gonna definitely end up with a burn on my shoulder. I can already feel the skin peeling. This is one I'm gonna have to refilm when I get a better pole in the room. So there's loads of ways you could come out of it. So, it depends how low you go. I think people actually try to go a bit too low with this one. I think kind of here is a good position to be doing it. And then I would slide like this with your back arched until you come down onto your back. Or you can even kind of step up in a way, okay, which is a little bit more intense and a bit harder. Or you could just, rather than sliding down your shoulder, you could sink your bum down. You could maybe change your grip to another grip. You could go somewhere else. You could come back up. So many options. I always encourage you to explore and play. Now, I was thinking about stay. People want more low flow, they want more sequences, and I can provide all of those things. But particularly with heels and low flow and hard style poles, if you watch a lot of these videos on Instagram, they're all doing the same fucking movements. There's only so many movements and they're all just doing them in different ways. At least at kind of beginner improver level. Then when we get more advanced, we've got all these kind of flippy, dramatic things which require a lot of strength. And I know from previous polls I've done that most of you are improver level. So I don't feel like I'm giving you worth if I start to throw in some of those really crazy things that they do. But a lot of the foundational stuff for low flow hard style, it's a lot of twisting, a lot of rolling, it's a lot of turns and steps. Most of that foundational stuff is already on the platform. And all it requires is for you to be free enough and feel confident enough to just experiment. There's no right or wrong, guys. 90% of what these style pole dancers are coming up with is improv. Okay, they learn those foundational movements and they just put them together in any way possible. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent, as I quite often do. Let's do right and left, front and back. So, right side. Right hand is on top, pole is on my right. I step on my right foot and I step around with my left. I do my cup grip pirouette, so my left hand comes palm up across the body and onto the pole, and I'm turning to the pole as I bring the hand, little finger up into the pole for my cup grip. I go away. Okay, I start to bring my second hand on, so both hands are already cupping, and my leg, which is coming up in the air, which is my right leg, is going to step, step. The more you can get the feet out to start with, the better it's going to be. So then remember, we start to do our body roll, and it doesn't always look so great in this position. And it's important, what people neglect in this one is they kind of get the lower hips going, but they don't get the chest going, because it feels like when your shoulder's on the pole that you can't move the chest. You can, okay, and the shoulders. So the whole lot has to go. So instead of me going like this, which is what I see a lot of people doing, I'm going like this. Okay, so you can see I'm opening the shoulders and closing the shoulders, opening the shoulders, closing the shoulders. So try and get the whole body going. As we undulate, remember the feet to step forward as we do it until we're kind of comfortable, we're grounded, and we feel like we've got it. Okay, and then there's lots of options. You could even just come down to squatting position. You could slide all the way down onto your back. So I'm not going to do it properly because of this pole, but if I was to keep my position and keep sliding, we can go onto our shoulders, and then we could do all kinds of little cute leg things. If you were that way inclined, you could stand up from there. It is a little bit tricky, but you can and stand up and do kind of the roll up, okay? Now, obviously, that was still talking about cup grip. So before we do the back view, just to complicate matters, let's talk about doing this with a twisted grip or other grip. So technically any arm position you can think of with your back against the pole this works with. So I prefer cup. Some people go one arm twisty, one arm cup, okay? Some people go like normal grip. That's a lot scarier and harder to hold, I find, with this one. Some people even have like a hand down. Okay, so you have one up, you can either have that cup or you can have it twisty. It's really up to you, and how we set that up depends on the type of pirouette we do, or you can just change your arm. Like, there's lots of ways we can just change it. So what I do is I would use step around, the twisty grip log roll would be the prerequisite for this one, so I will put that in the prerequisites. That would be your setup, because instead of rolling, we're going to body roll. So I'm probably going to end up a different angle with this one, but I do the same. Right hand on top, pole is on my right, step on the right foot, step around. Instead of doing a cup grip pirouette, I'm going to do a twisty grip roll pirouette, and I stop when the pole is behind me, okay, and the hand is in that rolly position. So you do need to have comfortable twisty grip roll, okay, and you'll understand what I'm talking about, hopefully. And then you can set the feet forward and you can keep the hand down, or you can come up and you can I don't want to do too many because my shoulder really hurts, but you can do your body rolls from there. And a lot of people, when they're doing these body rolls, we're slowly sliding down the pole to get lower as we do it, but it depends where you're going next as to whether you want to do that or not. Okay, let's do a back view on the right side, then we'll talk left. So it's a bit all over the place today, throwing that in there, but just to show you that you can use different grips on this. There's no right or wrong. I prefer cup because it gives me a bit more with twisty grip. I can't move my chest as much because of the arm position. With cup grip, I can get loads more movements. That's why I prefer cup grip. Okay, pole is on the right. Right hand is on top. Step on the right foot, circle the left out and around. My left hand comes across the body, so left arm across to the right, palm up to the ceiling, roll the little finger up as I turn to the right, away from the pole. I'm coming in towards my right shoulder, and I'm going to just stay where I am because I've actually ended up in the right place. But you could, if you wanted to, step a little bit further. And the sideways on diagonal is good. Other hand comes on. Step. You can do a few steps before you even start body rolling if you want to, or you can start your body roll and step your feet out. I'm not able to do it very well because my shoulder really hurts. And then you can do your body roll. And the key is to really eke out each part of the body roll and like exaggerate those movements. Okay. And you can either stand up, you can squat down, you can slide onto your back. There's various rolls we can go to, whatever you want to do. Okay, left side, front and back view. So, left hand is on top, step on the left foot, circle the right. Right hand is the one that is coming across the body, palm up, and we turn to the left. Keep turning, we're going for the left shoulder. And the left leg can step across, or you can just stay where you are. I like to sometimes just sort of go a bit further. So I'm on the left shoulder now. Left hand comes on to join the right hand. Body roll. The shoulder's not quite as sore, but some people with this one, what they like to do as well, to give you options, it's kind of two things you can do. Let's go with my normal shoulder. So the first is you can bring the knees in and out. Okay, and the next is you can circle. So it's still kind of a body roll because you've still got the body roll foundation, but you're circling with your body roll. So you still have the chest leading, you're still going tits, tummy, twinkle, okay? But you're adding a circular motion to that. Some people find that easier. Some people don't like it, okay? But to give you options. Okay, back view. Pole is on the left. We step onto the left foot, circle the right. Right hand comes through, okay, towards the side of your body. Palm up, turn to the left, little finger goes up, cup grip. Bring onto the left shoulder, step the left leg wherever you want to go. Left hand comes on, feet come forwards as we body roll. And I might need to move my feet a little bit more as I'm doing it. My body roll is terrible today, but you can deal with it. We can either slide. So try and show you the slide on this side. So I keep my hips up, I keep my head back, I slide, my hair's going to be pulled out, and I'm going to tuck my head in just before I land to the floor, and then I can do whatever I want on the ground. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. It's enough to get you started with this movement. So in terms of, people think there's like some magic trick to body rolls, but actually it's practice. So I'm not very good at practicing them recently, and they do feel clunky. Like I can feel in my body, they feel harder. And some people think, well, I'm not very flexible in my back. I really can't like get that kind of movement. Actually, just practicing your body rolls, you're going to be stretching, strengthening, and getting used to your body moving in that way. So I actually find if I haven't done body rolls for a while, this was mainly after I had surgery, so I couldn't pole for many months, and got body rolls like were a killer. My back, my core, everything was achy, everything was sore, not in like an injury way, just in a general like, oh my God, this has worked really hard, just from body rolls, and they'd gotten so much smaller again, and they felt clunky and they felt awkward. But the more you practice this way, okay, and the more this feels fluid, the easier it's going to feel with the back to the pole. It's just a little bit harder. You're a bit more restricted because your chest is stuck to the pole, your shoulders stuck to the pole, so you can't move quite as much as you can from upright unless you've got more mobility. So yes, work on your back flexibility, do the stretching. There's loads of classes up already for back flexibility. Do the strengthening work, but just throw body rolls into every practice you do, and I promise they will get better. I've spent thousands, I don't even think how many hours I spent just body rolling since I started poling, like 12 years ago now, maybe? Yeah, 12 years ago now, nearly. This March, I've been pole dancing for 12 years. And there's not a single day when I'm teaching or dancing or training that I don't body roll, okay? That is what's going to really make a difference. Okay, lecture over. I hope that's been helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. And don't forget to train smarter, not harder.